WBZ News in the morning. Let's start the day together.
Good afternoon. We have a line of soaking downpours on the way, but this weekend will dry out and it's going to stay mild.
Snow and ice compromising roofs across the area. The warning is going out after a young woman dies under a collapsed carport.
Could he be Boston bound? The big invitation that Mayor Marty Walsh is extending to Pope Francis.
Live from our studios in Boston, WBZ News at Noon starts right now.
It's mild today, which feels good, but all that melting snow and rain on top of that could mean trouble. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paula Evan.
And I'm David Wade. Tragically, a young woman was killed when a carport fell on her under the weight of all that snow and all that ice. WBZ's Jim Smith is live in Weymouth with new details on the story this afternoon. Jim?
Good afternoon, Paula and David. The snow and the warmer weather were obviously huge factors in this tragedy, but today the town of Weymouth is also looking into something else. They're investigating into how well this carport was constructed. They're trying to see if that played a role as well. The investigation into the cause of yesterday's tragedy in Weymouth has only just begun. The most obvious factor is the hundreds of pounds of snow on the roof, which caused the carport to collapse, killing 29-year-old Jenna Flaherty, who happened to be underneath part of it at the time. But authorities are also checking other possible issues. Was a permit pulled for the job when it was done, or did you look into any of that?
Preliminary investigations show that there was no permit pulled for that particular carport.
Could that be a factor?
If the Inspectional Services Department did not look at it, it's under investigation, but we're looking into that.
Jenna Flaherty was the mother of a 10-year-old son. Family friends say she was on the cell phone with her grandfather at the time of the collapse, trying to warn him of strange noises.
How freaky can that get? You know, it's just to walk outside and roof collapses on you. You know, all the crazy things we do, I'm like, who figures something like that's going to happen here?
This morning, Weymouth town officials checked on the roofs of town buildings and schools. They'll continue to do it until spring.
We'll be taking a good hard look at it, because it's not going to stop snowing. We have probably another whole month of it, and there's concern there.
Back here live in Weymouth at the scene. So in addition to checking those town buildings, inspectors will take another look at this carport once again to investigate just how well it was constructed. It's hard to say exactly how old it is. A source told me it was about 7 years old. It is possible, according to the town, that it might be a little bit older than that. Live in Weymouth this noon, Jim Smith, WBZ News. Back to you, Paula and David.
All right, Jim, appreciate it. Thank you. So we haven't quite cracked 40 degrees yet today, but we will approach 50 in some spots, and some rain is headed here.
Our meteorologist, Todd Gutner, is here with the latest, and it's just not a good combination for people who haven't had a chance to clear off their roofs.
Yeah, it's a tough job. We mentioned that yesterday, and it's going to feel real nice late today when our temperatures rise. But in the meantime, it's kind of chilly and raw outside. We're mostly in the 30s, 37 in the city, 35 in Worcester, Nashua, Lawrence in the upper 30s. Starting to see signs of the warmth bubbling up from the south. Lower 40s now, invading southeastern Massachusetts. A lot of drizzle, a lot of mist currently, but there's a line of heavy downpours marching through Pennsylvania and upstate New York. And there are actually a few thunderstorms within that line, and this line is going to work its way across our state later this afternoon. I expect it to get to Worcester sometime around 5 o'clock, and then to Boston around 6 o'clock. So the evening commute with these heavy downpours moving through, that means hydroplaning will be an issue, and also some poor drainage flooding. Most of those drains are clogged up with slush and snow, so it's going to take some time for that water to get back down into them. Leave yourself some extra time heading home this evening. Wet and raw for the next few hours, then those downpours, and yes, I still expect temperatures to pop when they come through, up to about 50 in the city of Boston. Over the weekend, we'll dry out. We'll see if it stays mild in a couple of minutes. Guys, back to you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Well, today, Boston police detectives are looking for a shooter after a deadly shooting overnight in Mattapan. This happened in front of a home on Itasca Street. The victim's name has not yet been released.
Well, the PBD man accused of killing his girlfriend will face a judge today. Franklin Castano turned himself in. The police found his girlfriend dead at his apartment. WBZ's Bree Season is live in PBD now with the latest. Bree?
Paula, 43-year-old Franklin Castano will be arraigned this afternoon at Peabody District Court. We're learning now about two prior arrests in which Castano was accused of beating his girlfriend. Police used snow shovels to turn a Peabody apartment complex upside down during a murder investigation.
Yes, it is a safe complex. I mean, you don't hear about this all the time, so, but it's scary. It's scary.
Authorities say 43-year-old Franklin Castano showed up at Lynn Police claiming he murdered his girlfriend, 23-year-old Solani Paulino. Near the crime scene, some seemed stunned as the reality of the situation sank in.
And I know it's a very quiet place. Not much usually going on down here.
A lot going on Thursday as police used metal detectors and canines to look for evidence in a case they call domestic violence. Prosecutors tell us in 2011, Castano and Paulino were both charged with aggravated assault and battery, after a scuffle at a New Year's Eve party. Neither would testify against the other, so that case was eventually dismissed. Then in 2012, Castano was charged again with assault and battery after a witness heard an argument between Castano and Paulino. That witness could not be summoned to court, so that case was also dismissed. Live in Peabody, Bree Season, WBZ News. Paula and David, back to you.
All right, Bree, thank you. One of two men charged in the death of a Somerville man will be in court today. The body of 66-year-old Vincent Lally was found near the Norwood Middle School last month, and police say Anthony Canaho hit Lally with a crowbar, then strangled him inside the apartment that they shared in Somerville. Then investigators believe that Canaho asked his father for some help in dumping that body. Well, lawyers for marathon bombing suspect Johar Tsarnaev will again ask a judge to lift restrictions against him in prison. They say the FBI is monitoring their strategy, and the Department of Prisons is actually scanning documents. They argue it violates Tsarnaev's constitutional right to a case prepared without government interference. Prosecutors haven't responded to that complaint. Of course, they're seeking the death penalty against Tsarnaev when he goes on trial in November.
A former police sergeant in Plymouth will face up to 20 years in prison when he's sentenced in May for an attack inside the station. The surveillance video was just made public. On Wednesday, a federal jury convicted Sean Coughlin of using excessive force. This tape from 2 years ago shows him hitting a man arrested on drunk driving charges. Coughlin says force was justified.
A school on the Cape is handing out bottled water to students. Well water at the Eastham Elementary School is contaminated with a possible carcinogen. Officials believe that carcinogen is coming from the town's nearby landfill.
Boston's Mayor, Marty Walsh, has now extended an invitation to Pope Francis. He would like the pontiff to make a visit to Boston, and he's asking Cardinal Sean O'Malley to hand-deliver the letter. WBZ's David Robichaud has the story now from Dorchester.
In his letter, Mayor Walsh told the Pope he would be greatly honored if the pontiff would accept the invitation. The Globe says the mayor went on to say, "The city of Boston has always been known as a city of profound faith. Faith that its diversity makes it strong. Faith in doing the right and appropriate thing for its poor. And faith in the power of truth and justice."
I want to tell everyone that the Pope is your friend.
Marty Walsh was in 6th grade when Pope John Paul II made his historic visit to Boston in 1979. More than 1 million people lined the streets of Boston to catch a glimpse of the Pope's motorcade. Over 100,000 braved driving rain to celebrate Mass on the Common.
My mother said it's good because he's the closest man to God, probably.
The closest man to the Pope in Boston is Cardinal Sean O'Malley. He has agreed to hand-deliver the letter for Mayor Walsh, though he told the Globe last month the chances of a papal visit to Boston are remote.
The National Catholic Reporter says the most likely cities for a papal visit next year are New York and Philly. In Dorchester, David Robichaud, WBZ News.
We just got this into the WBZ newsroom that an Italian athlete has been kicked out of the Olympics.
Doping allegations against him now, and the other athlete being investigated as well.
Also had this noontime a deal to end violence in Ukraine. The concessions the government is now offering coming up.
And a local professor who takes selfies to an entirely new level. Coming up, the man who's documented every day of his life for the last 27 years.
When winter storms hit New England, no one covers them quite like WBZ.
WBZ Accuweather team has had this storm covered.
It has just been steady snow since we rolled up here.
Some rates just over an inch per hour.
Starting to get some new totals in for you.
About a half foot on the ground here at Government Center.
Let's take a live look from Mobile 4 right now. Governor Patrick on the phone.
You're on Twitter, Facebook, in our chat room, on our website.
What's doing all the radio stations
All the
in town?
radios, you're all over.
When winter's at its worst, we're here for you. WBZ Accuweather.
This weekend only, it's the New England Home Show at the Seaport World Trade Center, Boston, Friday through Sunday. This home show has it all. Windows, doors, roofing, siding, the latest in kitchens and baths, and more. Get special deals on remodeling, renovating, and landscaping. Check out the Chef Fest, the Furniture Project, Artisan Craft Pavilion, and so much more at the New England Home Show. Get details and savings online at newenglandhomeshows.com.
The Toyota Tacoma, massive one-piece frame rails, fully boxed subframe. It's built to face New England's toughest conditions. Question is, can it face its toughest critics? Evidently, yes. The Toyota Tacoma, not only tough, but an incredible value. Toyota, let's go places.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Luna.
With Luna, buy one room of flooring, get all other rooms of product for just $50 each. 877-241 Luna.
This portion of WBZ News is brought to you by Regan Ford of Haverhill.
Well, if you saw a child out in the bitter cold without a coat, would you help? Cameras hidden at a bus stop in Norway's capital captured dozens of strangers stopping to offer coats and scarves to a chilly 11-year-old, most without hesitation. But in reality, that boy was an actor, and the stunt was designed to call attention to the needs of children in Syria, freezing as they flee that country's civil war. And it ends with information about how to donate to aid organizations. David?
And Paula, there are new developments this afternoon in Ukraine. Now protesters are agreeing to a peace deal that could finally end all this violence. CBS's Danielle Nottingham has details on the early elections that hope to unite that country.
A deal to end days of violent clashes may be taking hold in Ukraine, but anti-government protesters aren't leaving Kiev's Independence Square yet. After all-night talks, Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych signed a deal with opposition leaders who have been calling for his resignation. The government concessions include early elections this year and restoring limits to presidential powers. European ministers went to Kiev to help broker the deal after months of mostly peaceful demonstrations erupted on Tuesday into deadly clashes between protesters and riot police.
The United States and its allies expressed outrage over the violence and pressed the Ukrainian government to end the bloodshed.
The only way forward is dialogue, so we welcome all efforts to find a peaceful solution.
The demonstrations began late last November when the Ukrainian president turned away from a pact with the European Union and accepted a bailout from Russia. The protesters want Yanukovych gone and closer ties with the West. Danielle Nottingham at CBS News, the White House.
For one Newton woman, the crisis in Ukraine hits too close to home. She has lived part-time in Kiev for more than 20 years and grew up just a few blocks away from Independence Square, scene of the most violent clashes.
And these people are actually going there knowing that they could die. And when that goes through you, it's scary because you know many of those are your friends.
Tanya says the violence comes from desperation and anger over what many Ukrainians believe is a deeply corrupt government.
It is Team USA versus Canada for a shot to advance to the gold medal game.
Coming up, the fictional bet inspired by the international showdown in Sochi.
And in just a few hours, a line of soaking rain will move through, and then our temperatures will rise. I'll have your weekend forecast details in just a few minutes.
Remember Popper and Mark? We're gonna ride together. We're gonna die together. Rachel and Brendan.
I can't shake my head.
Chet and Cord.
You get to see the world for a couple of hillbillies from Oklahoma. Who's on hillbilly?
and Joey and Megan.
I have to touch that thing.
Well, they're all back when the Amazing Race All-Stars take off.
Woo, baby!
Don't miss the season premiere, Sunday, only CBS.
Do you remember when we were young? Life was so simple, we just had fun. Do you remember when we were small? And everything around us was so much taller.
Golfers Warehouse, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. The new clubs for 2014 are here. Crush longer, straighter drives with the new Callaway Big Bertha, Cobra BioCell, Ping I-25, Nike Covert 2.0, or TaylorMade SLDR drivers. And every golfer can get pro performance with Bridgestone's new B330 golf balls. Looking for comfort and performance in a golf shoe? The FootJoy DNA offers both. It's all new, and it's all at the Golfers Warehouse, serving New England golfers for over 30 years.
Marvin windows and doors mean more to the people that choose them because they do more for their homes than any other window. Only Marvin combines a century of industry-leading design innovation with unmatched quality, durability, and energy efficiency for exceptional value. Which Marvin will be your Marvin?
From downtown to your town, Marvin has a solution that just fits. To find the perfect solution for your next remodeling or replacement project, visit whymarvin.com and find a dealer near you. whymarvin.com.
Some are novices, some are triathletes, some ride for their family and friends, and some ride for themselves, but they all ride for a cause. Be a part of the fight against cancer at the 35th Pan Mass Challenge. 12 routes through 46 towns across Massachusetts. Join us in the effort to raise $40 million for research and patient care at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. The Pan Mass Challenge, August 2nd and 3rd. For more information, go to cbsboston.com/PMC.
This portion of WBZ News is brought to you by BMW of Peabody.
Well, now to Sochi, where an Italian bobsledder has been kicked out of the Games. The Olympic Committee says William Frulani failed a doping test twice.
And a German biathlete is also out. Evie Sachenbacher-Steele is disqualified after he failed a doping test. All of this as the U.S. men's hockey team is hoping to move on to the gold medal game, facing Canada today in the semifinals.
The U.S. team is still in the lead, but the medal count this afternoon with 25. They're followed closely by Russia with 24. Canada is in third place with 23. President Obama has a lot riding on the game between the U.S. and Canada. He made a bet with the Canadian Prime Minister, Stephen Harper.
So far, it's the president who has to pay up after the Canadian women won the gold yesterday. Harper, on a flight home from Mexico, tweeted this, saying, "I look forward to watching the game later, and at Barack Obama, I look forward to my case of beer." He will receive beer that's brewed at the White House using honey from the beehive on the South Lawn.
And another reason the stakes are so high for today's game, whoever loses apparently has to keep Justin Bieber. What? At least that's what this billboard outside a freight company in Chicago is calling for. The troubled pop star, of course, originally from Canada, but he's been living in the U.S. An executive for this freight company says they're just trying to have a little fun.
Sounds like it could set off an international incident.
It's true, with the Prime Minister and the President fighting over who
beer and Bieber. That's politics.
Oh, so Todd, a lot of people might think about having a beer this afternoon. It's going to be warm, and it's going to make people think about summer with all the melt going on.
Balmy out there, at least not at the moment, but later on today it will get a little warmer, and this weekend as well. I'm going to show you one of our weather bug cameras. This is from Boston, from Josiah Quincy Elementary School. And it's actually looking back at the Prue. The unfortunate thing here is you can't see it because the clouds are so low. We have some dense fog out there. That's the Prue right there, so you can only see about the first 30 floors. And the fog will be pretty thick going through the afternoon. What's going on is warmer air several hundred feet above us is riding up and over the cool air and the snowpack that's out there, and that results in some dense areas of fog. The temperature in the city is 37, Worcester 35. It's chilly, so where is this warm-up coming from? It's coming from the south, and you can see a sign of it there down on the south coast. It's in the lower 40s, and I expect those numbers to continue to rise. And it'll get a little help once we get this line of heavy downpours to work in, because the heavy rain will bring down the warmth with the raindrops, so we'll start to feel the warmth at the end of the day. In the meantime, you still need the jacket, and you probably need the umbrella a little bit too. We have some mist, some drizzle out there, and then after 3 o'clock, this line gets into the picture. In fact, Between 4 and 5, I expect it to get to Worcester. Within it, there may actually be a few rumbles of thunder. Could be our first line of thunderstorms to work through during the season. And I expect it to get to Boston around 6 o'clock. This means a very slow evening commute. Hydroplaning will be an issue, and some poor street flooding, too, mainly at the intersections, you know, where the storm drains are all clogged up in those snowbanks. So please be careful early on this evening. The soakers will end late this evening and will clear out, and then black ice is an issue as temperatures fall back to about 32 degrees. Tomorrow, the sun's back. It'll be breezy, but it will be mild, 45 to 50 degrees. The winds out of the southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday night, more icy spots as we dip below freezing. Again, a lot of melting going on this weekend. And then increasing clouds on Sunday with a drop or a flake late in the day. An afternoon high, though, still up there in the 40s. However, Sunday night, the cold returns, and so does our chance for snow. There'll be a storm system that develops on a frontal system in our coastal waters, and that means a little snow breaks out here. Sunday night exits by the commute on Monday morning, but it will leave behind in most spots a coating to perhaps as much as 2 inches of snow. So a rude awakening as we hit the end of the weekend there. AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Late today we'll hit 50. In the meantime, it's 30s and 40s, and those soakers come through for the evening commute. Tomorrow, breezy and mild, partly sunny, 45 to 50. Sunday, clouds increase. We hit the mid-40s, and then at night we see that light snow. It's gone by Monday morning, but it's cold on Monday, 32 degrees, and real cold most of next week. Highs only in the 20s with another shot at snow on Wednesday, so winter makes a comeback. Enjoy the next couple of days while the mild stuff is around. Guys, back to you.
Oh, we will. All right, Todd, thank you so much. Even though it is winter, you can still find some great-looking greens in the grocery store. On today's Fresh Grocer, Tony Tantillo shows you what to look for when picking romaine lettuce.
Well, today's tip of the day is romaine lettuce. Yes, I know I talk about romaine lettuce in the summertime, but it's wintertime. Still, the leaf lettuce in the market are fantastic, especially if you love Caesar salad, you need romaine lettuce. Let's talk about selection and storage. When you buy them, you want to make sure they're nice and mint green all the way around. Where it's been cut has to be nice and clear, free from any browning whatsoever. When you bring them home, what you want to do is simply crisp them up before you put them in the refrigerator. And how we do that is simple. You fill your sink with some water, put them in the romaine lettuce in there for about a minute. That's it, real quick, in and out. And then get the paper towel and just dry it up, then put it in the refrigerator. That way, you stay nice and crispy for about 4 to 5 days. If you leave in a plastic bag in the refrigerator, they're going to decay on you very rapidly, so crisp them first. And they're great in Caesar salad and so many other dishes. There we go, the romaine. And I'm Tony Tantillo, your Fresh Grocer. Always remember to eat fresh and stay healthy.
And you can catch the Fresh Grocer right here on WBZ News each and every day at noontime. Well, the work week is winding down, and how about a drink?
Yeah, coming up, the startup company delivering 5 o'clock beers to offices.
Do they ever come at noontime?
Sure.
And he took pictures of himself every day for 27 years. The one day that he missed coming out.
And here's a look as we head to break at what's hot on our website, cbsboston.com. Right now, we'll be right back.
Tony Tantillo, brought to you by Colavita, America's #1 selling Italian extra virgin olive oil. Next, Rio spins into Vegas for a taste of the good life.
I love eating and drinking, especially macaroni and cheese.
So it's high-end stuff.
I'm all about the class. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a hot tip. Don't miss it.
Tonight at 7 on WBZ-TV.
Everywhere you go, Dan Roach is talking to Red Sox. On TV, on radio, and online.
That's what the players are talking about today.
Nobody gets you closer to the World Series champs than Dan Roach. Live at Red Sox Spring Training. All this week on WBZ.
This weekend only, it's the New England Home Show at the Seaport World Trade Center, Boston, Friday through Sunday. This home show has it all. Windows, doors, roofing, siding, the latest in kitchens and baths, and more. Get special deals on remodeling, renovating, and landscaping. Check out the Chef Fest, the Furniture Project, Artisan Craft Pavilion, and so much more at the New England Home Show. Get details and savings online at newenglandhomeshows.com.
One click on buyatoyota.com and you can find the biggest selection of Toyota inventory in New England. And then see every Toyota special offer there is, even those not seen on TV. Plus, get a free independent trade-in value in seconds. Right now, see a lowest ever $119 a month lease on a Corolla Sport with no cost maintenance included. Buy at Toyota.com, Toyota's official website for deals.
After my accident, Mako fixed my BMW. Handled insurance, rental car, it was easy.
They do great auto body work, same as dealerships. And I saved so much money with the options they gave me, I didn't have to go through my insurance.
My son's car was painted at Mako. He liked the work, but I liked the price.
17 million Americans turn to Mako for quality paint and collision repair.
So choose Mako for collision.
And paint.
Come to the body shop that's easy, affordable, and reliable. Mako, America's body shop. Feeling trapped by winter weather?
You're at a Erickson Living community. You don't worry about the weather outside. Everything goes on as if snow never happened.
You have a medical center here, you have a dying, and you have 6 feet of snow out there. Just go.
In our house, we always had concerns about ice on the driveway. It's a very freeing thing to not have to worry about any of that.
Take the chill out of winter. Call for your free brochure and learn more about Erickson Living at Linden Ponds.
Why would you want to lie to me? I'm a judge. Look, judge. More pathetic than I thought.
Judge Judy.
Today at 4 on WBZ-TV.
This portion of WBZ News is brought to you by the New England Home Show.
So it's Friday afternoon at the office. How does beer sound? Some companies in the UK are ordering from a new startup called Desk Beer. The company delivers 5 o'clock beers to 24 companies around London. Sounds a little dangerous. Businesses say it's a nice treat for the office and helps co-workers bond.
Yeah, especially dangerous if you do television.
Yes.
Farming without sun, without soil, with very little water, no problem. Coming up today at 5 o'clock, I take you to the MIT City Lab, where technology is revolutionizing the art of growing produce, how this lab could change the future food supply.
Some cool video of selfies from a Boston College professor of photography.
This is pretty awesome. Carl Braden has taken a picture of himself every day for 27 straight years. He started when he was 34, back in 1987. He says he intentionally didn't change his hair and used the same camera so you could see the aging process. He's now 61. Braden says he did forget to take his picture one day, October the 15th, 1991. He says he'll remember that day forever. What was it about that day? Why did he forget?
Did he get married that day or something? Was it wedding day?
I want to know what happened.
He's aging well.
Gonna say
Yes, he looks great.
Yeah, very, very good. So, this is the big weekend melt.
Yes, a lot of that snow will go bye-bye, but there's still so much out there that it'll still exist by the end of this weekend. Today, cool for now. We've got the rain coming through this evening, and then we'll pop our temps for a brief time. Over the weekend, we're in the 40s. It'll be dry. A little snow Sunday night, though. We'll surprise some folks. A couple of inches in a few spots.
All right, Todd. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Todd. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you for our next newscast today at 5.
Have a good one. Go Team USA.